interesting, because I am like a person of extremes. I think that's all I've really known. You know? Because either I was too loud, or I was too quiet, or at this too much, or not enough of my family. Too sensitive, too outgoing, not outgoing enough, not feeling enough, you know? It's been really rough. And for some reason, I'm thinking about my middle school, I guess, best friend. I just feel like there's so much heartbreak. And I always felt empty. You know, I can't say it was their fault. I always felt they never had gone through the thing that I had, or if they had, they hadn't realized it and come to a level of understanding that I have. Like they were all brainwashed. I was just living with robots. Man-made things. Artificial intelligence. But it's like they lacked heart and soul. So many of them. I think all of them, really. Except for one. Maybe that's why I still think of her. Even though it's been 4 years since we really spoke the way we used to. We spoke quite deeply at the beginning. And then she pulled away. And then one of our classmates committed suicide. And she was I'm pretty sure she was very close to him. She still has a post of him on her Instagram. No one cared about anyone, and they still don't. Especially at that high school. Because only after he committed suicide did they put up posters of suicide prevention and give cards out and say to have grief counseling and all that shit. Only after the tragedy did they do anything. And I think they sent like a survey out saying, how do you think we're doing taking care of the situation? I said, you guys are hypocrites. You don't care about us. Because it took someone's death to actually give a shit for once. And I think that one girl, that was high school, freshman year when I first started talking to her. And it's interesting because I feel like we only really spoke deeply and truly for 3 days. Which is frustrating to me. I felt like I finally had someone that could relate to my story. That I wasn't the only one going through it. I think that was the very first time I ever felt seen. Because sure, I tell other people what happened and how things were. Even one classmate I told in middle school, which I totally forgot I told about my toxic situation, or anything. Totally forgot I told her, but even then everything with everyone felt surface level, but within just 3 days of speaking with that person, and after so long feeling like I was invisible, and she just fell out of touch. And it frustrates me that I still wonder why. I still wonder what happened. I would keep trying for a while, really. And then I just decided to set her free because why should I go after someone who can't give me anything and I'm not helping them because they're not letting me in and maybe they don't want help. Maybe they don't want my help. It's just interesting because I felt like no one really opened up about the shit that when happened at home like she had. It was just interesting because I guess I just felt seen. Felt like someone could understand me finally. And they were just judging me based off my clothes and the things I had. Even one of my best friends. She thought I was rich simply because I wore Jordans and cool clothes and had a phone and all that. Yeah. I had her come over to my place and she just looked so, I don't know what the proper word is, but she just, it wasn't what she was expecting when she went in. And I think when she got to my room, she was like, I'm sorry, I didn't think you lived like this. The carpets are all stained. They're supposed to be white, but they were black. In a one bedroom with, I believe, 8 adults. Or 8 people in general, but a majority of them adults. Yeah, I knew that. Thought I was rich because I had Jordans. I actually thought those on sale. I think they were my first pair that I actually bought. They were bright red bottoms. The other Jordans I had were hand-me-downs from my sister. I pretty much fell out of touch with everyone from middle school as soon as we got to high school. And it's interesting because when I was in middle school, we were good, and then I moved to Peru, and everyone said they missed me and whatnot. And then I came back, and everyone was so happy to see me. And then came high school, and we all just fell apart or drifted. Because I wasn't the type of person to go study my ass off. These people who could give less of a fuck about us and our actual well-being, not society's economic gain for the wealthy. Though, like her said, they don't tell us that wealth is unattainable with their currency. I guess as high school came, we stopped hanging out with people as much. You know, sure, one of my best friends. And both of them really would have me over pretty much every other night for dinner, or maybe I'd sleep over, all that. But I don't think anyone actually cared to know me, my wins and scars. I think they just thought that I was a pretty person with a kind heart, and they said, hey, I want something from them, not me. Now they're best friend. We could relate, but never really, actually never was able to be there for me. I don't blame her though, because her dad's like, I believe ex-military if he's not still. And she just has extremely strict parents. I'm sure all of them did, except for mine. My parents let me do whatever the fuck I wanted. They didn't care about me. They still don't. It's interesting because I actually hopped on here to talk good about them, but sure, there was fun times, but I don't think any of them actually meant it when they said they loved me, or that they'd be there for me anytime, especially with my junior friends. They would rather, be boy crazed than care about someone who was very suicidal at that time. I was an extreme insomniac, if that's the right usage. And I think there's another word that explains insomnia. Or not insomnia, but not being able to sleep. Don't remember the word right now, though. September 12th was one of their birthdays, actually. And I was planning to kill myself. But I ended up going to see them. To say happy birthday. And instead of asking, hey, why didn't you go to school? Are you okay? They'd just be like, Izzy, you need to go to school. You're gonna fail, and this and that. They weren't real friends. I don't care how brainwashed one is. There's, right and wrong is something everybody knows. Should we care about someone? We don't say those things. I think this is like, it's not the whole poem, but I think Raina Biddy, I believe it's in I Love My Love. It might be actually on Spotify, one of her albums, where she says something like, let's see. I wish I could remember it right now. It was like something about. I'll just do my best. It was foolish of me to think I could receive love that only a heart like mine was willing to offer. It was foolish of me to believe I could receive love when only a heart like mine was willing to offer. It reminds me of her song, Right Wrong Places. Looking for love in all the wrong places. Looking for us in all the wrong faces. I'm always looking for love when I'm not drunk and faded. Looking for love, I think we should make it. I was always looking to be protected and rescued and taken care of. Even when in my middle school years, I only got close to the popular group because I liked one of them. And then I got too close. Didn't end up getting closer to that individual that I liked, but ended up liking someone else. But they probably still are, bullies. They even had a book of people that they made fun of. It's really shitty. Can't say I wasn't a bully. I don't remember much really, but I do remember how they made me feel. And I knew I was wrong. I think they even made fun of. Yeah, they were racist. They made fun of the Indians. At least the dark ones. You know, I feel like a majority of the Indian population at our school was actually dark. But a majority of the people at that school were light skinned, excluding myself, obviously. I believe at least 90 something, maybe 80%, if not more, were Asian at that school. I think both schools, middle and high school. They definitely make fun of the Indians. Not looking back at that. But I knew everybody. I was a popular learner. I'd hang out, but no one knew me really. No one really cared to. Right? It was foolish of me to think I could receive love when only a heart like mine was willing to offer. When you lack heart. That's why music, so many forms of art, made me feel seen, loved, and cared for. Especially music. I read anybody's book I love more. A lot of her poetry, really. I'm so grateful that I found her. And now thinking about it, I actually got into Kehlani because of that one girl I liked, the one that I could relate to. And I felt seen for once with her. Kehlani would come up on my feed all the time, but you're not. I don't know. I've seen, I think, a post about her somewhere about how she was queer, but that was back then. Obviously, she's lesbian, and they. Kehlani's a they. So, yeah. But, you know, I got into Kehlani because of that person. I'll just call her Cup Noodle. But I don't think I was really planning on it. I'm not the kind of person to go listen to new artists. I'm a very reserved, very stubborn person, I guess you could say. I like my music and I don't like straying out of that box. But I just remember we talk about music. And I asked her, do you listen to music? And Cup Noodle was like, yeah, 25/8, like, all the time, pretty much, Instead of 24/7, she said 25/8. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is funny to me. 25/8. Yeah. I started, I guess, I think I asked her, do you recommend any music? I'm like running out of artists, or want to listen to something new, or what kind of music do you listen to? Do you have a favorite genre? I ask a lot of questions when I meet people. I like getting to know people. Some people are like, oh, you're so nosy, or whatever. I'm not nosy, I just like getting to know people. There's a difference. And the question and tone people ask you questions in, so. Yeah. That's when I started listening to Kehlani. And I fell in love with the album, Sweet Sexy Savage. Then I started. Then I think that's when I bought Raina Biddy's book. I believe it was that year. Because Raina Biddy was the intro for Sweet Sexy Savage. She spoke that. I believe she wrote it too, of course, because it's fucking Raina Biddy. So, yeah. Interesting. Because Kehlani is one of my main artists that I listen to now. My top 3 artists are her, Kehlani, and SZA. I love Beyonce and Fifth Harmony too. I love a lot of artists, really. But, just thinking based on the music people would listen to that I knew, they wouldn't really listen to anything meaningful. Just radio type music, popular stuff. They had no substance. But Cup Noodle, when I listened to the album, it had meaning, which is all I listened to. I really just pay attention, or mostly would pay attention to lyrics back then. And I was like, damn, this is deep. 23:22 on the clock. Yeah. So I felt like she had some substance. And I don't know, I think one day I asked her, how was your day or how was school? And she said, I'm just sad. I think she said something like, my friends are making fun of me for being gay or whatever. And I was like, oh, that sucks. I'm here if you need to talk or something. And I think that's when we started opening up to each other. And then I think one day her mom, I don't know what the fuck her mom said to her or did to her. Oh, yeah, she was watching TV and then her mom kicked her out or something. Or I think her mom had the TV playing, but then Cup Noodle changed the channel to watch whatever. And mad at her and yelled at her and shit. Yeah. I can relate to something like that. I don't understand what happened. I don't know if she was bullied to the point where she had to get a beard. Unless she is pansexual or whatever, I don't know. Because it's just weird. Because why would she take time out of her day to approach me? Whether that just have been on Snapchat or in person. Because the first time I felt like I had actually seen her in person, I was just. She was very pretty. She was really pretty. I was actually riding my skateboard in the halls, my penny board. And I think it was one of my friend's birthdays. So we were setting up early for their locker and putting little stuff on it. That's, I believe, the first time I saw her in person. Cup noodle, I mean. And I was just riding my skateboard, right? Then I just let it hit the locker and I almost hit someone. Because I think I got distracted too, because I was just looking at her because she was looking at me and I was just, yeah. And I just remember trying to set up the locker for my friend, facing this way, and her locker's this way, which she's across. And I just look back and look at her and stuff. Because friends don't look at each other that way. They really don't. We usually say something, especially since I don't believe we've seen each other before. But it was like we had when we looked at each other's eyes. At least for me, it felt that way. Like I'd seen her before, met her before or something. And she approached me one day, I believe. For me, it was out of nowhere. I was just listening to, I believe, SZA. Maybe Teen Spirit or Ice Moon. And she sat down next to me and I was just sketching, so I wasn't looking. And I had headphones in, so I was like, oh. And then I just looked to my side. I don't know if she tapped my shoulder or just said hey. I think she did just say hey or something, like tap on my shoulder. And sure, it could just be, I don't know, reading into it too much, but I don't think friends just do that. Just strangers, you know, they don't just come up to you like that. So many people are awkward and anxious and just very reserved. Like, so many people were just assholes in high school and middle school and just everywhere, really. Like, they either come up to you because they have an interest or. Yeah, I feel like that's the only time people would approach me. For friends, I would be the one to approach them. But with those kinds of interests, they would approach me, if that makes sense. I wasn't going around really in that way. Because first, I'm just a really outgoing person when I want to be. Whatever. Yeah, it was just. I feel like I was so nervous because, again, I was just sketching in my a tiny ass sketchbook, okay? Like, it barely fit in the palm of my hand. It wasn't even this big either. Or maybe it was. But, yeah, I was just sketching and obviously very insecure, very anxious, awkward, whatever. And when she sat down, I was like, and said hi. I didn't really know what to talk about. I was like, hi, how are you? But I was obviously like dying and screaming inside. Not completely badly. It was more so like, oh gosh, please don't judge me. But it was also like, oh my gosh, she's sitting next to me. Kind of freak out situation. And we talked for a bit. I think I was supposed to walk her to class. Or we were going to talk after school or something. I don't know. And if it was talking after school or something, maybe I did fuck up. Because I know at some point we did say to meet up at lunch, and I didn't show up because one of my friends was having a really bad day. Like, the lunch line is pretty much 70% of the whole lunch time we had. So 70% of that time was just spent in line to get food. So I didn't get to her on time, especially since I was caught up with my friend's drama or whatever. She was just having a really bad day. And yeah, just felt like that's what ruined her, because I obviously abandoned her and made an empty promise, which I personally hate. So why would she be okay with that? I don't know. I'd like to think that was why. But it was just interesting. It was different with her than everyone else. Felt like, at least. Because I think one day, I believe I was walking to PE. I don't know. But it was like the back of the high school facing the fields. And we were like walking like this. I was here, she was here. And she just said, hi, how are you, or something. Wasn't like we interacted much, but even if we did just text or whatever, I had actually felt seen. Maybe that's why I still think about her, which still frustrates me, because I feel like I shouldn't, because doubt she even remembers me. Doubt she thinks about me at all. I haven't really talked to her in 4 years, right? Not like we used to. And so I don't think I've seen her. I haven't seen her in person in 3 years. I haven't seen her in 3 years. Maybe two. Because I believe junior year was when I cut my hair. And I believe it was the 10th of March. Just after her birthday. And we were both at the same restaurant. I don't know if she recognized me since I cut everything off. I was also just having a really huge panic attack that day. I had such a big panic attack or whatever the fuck that was, because I literally was in the bathroom. I felt like I couldn't breathe, but I was like, okay, maybe it'll go away. And then I'm walking out. I think I look at her, or I think I try not to look at her. I don't recall. But I literally just start shaking physically, like, and my body, like, retracts, like, my spine just went back. And then I think I just fell to the floor. It was kind of like a seizure, but it wasn't. I don't know. And then I was just doing that at the table, just shaking and shit. When was the last time I saw her in person? How cool. Yeah, that was definitely junior year, because sophomore year I definitely had long hair. Still. That's actually when I met Martina. And I think that's when I started private lessons with Frank, which he was actually the one that took me to the restaurant where I lost Salt Cup Noodle. And it was quite the interaction. Frank was definitely doing something. Home sports? Excuse you. It's just interesting to look back. No, I guess that makes sense. It still bothers me that I think about him. But I guess I can't help it for some reason. It's been 4 years and 2 years since I've seen her. Maybe 3? I don't know, it's gotta be 2022 now, so. Shit. But anyway, take care. I'm gonna. Bye. Bye. Love you.